Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Crimson Fire. Welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, I have just been spending a bunch of crystals. Yeah, I just got online and was like, I've got all these crystals. I never seem to have enough time to burn any of them off anyway. So we're gonna sit here and just roll through this stuff and collect some scrolls. As you guys saw right there at the beginning, I have an LD scroll to open too. So I might as well just do it on camera. I've been doing this, just going back and forth. The first mystical scroll I find I summon because I've been getting a lot of lightning doing this, which is kind of strange to me. But that's kind of why I'm recording the video on it. I was just kind of sitting here. I've summoned maybe 10 scrolls and gotten 4 nat 5s. Or not nat 5s. Nat 4s. That would be insane. That's like 1 in I don't know how many. Unbelievably low chance of that happening, but I've been getting an abnormal amount of lightning just sitting in here, opening up stuff, so we'll see if I can get anything pretty disturbing on camera. I don't know. Might not. I might not. I wonder if sometimes stuff goes wrong when you press the record button too, which is pretty fun, but at least you guys will get to sit here and watch me probably just piss away a lot of crystals. Yeah. Yeah. Just piss away probably a lot of crystals. Maybe I can get one more exclusive summon while I'm going through these two, which would be pretty cool. I had like 23,000 or 23 million mana when I started too, so it's not really bothering me any. Buying the scrolls, not bothering me spending the crystals either, because I just don't seem to be able to farm through them fast enough. Even when I'm sitting in there farming the Fire Rift Beast for hours, and the runs are faster now that I have the twins, it's still taking seemingly a long time to get through the energy, because there's just so much free energy that they give you now. Typically there's 2 events running at the same time, and typically both of those events are going to give you energy. So I've just found it to be a very little concern. Stones darn. I've found it to be a very little concern doing whatever I want with crystals, because I never have the time. I do a lot of work. I just work a lot, and that's kind of where a lot of my time goes. Unfortunately, I don't have great internet out there in the country when I'm delivering mail. Somewhere else I'm in the city for some of the time, so I can get some internet there. But it's just nice to listen to music sometimes too. Sometimes you don't want to really sit there and grind the Fire Rift Beast, all day long. So yeah, listening to music is pretty nice, especially when you're out there. People think it's pretty crazy that I know like 5,000 addresses in my head. I have 8 different routes. I know where most of these people live. I know forwards. I know all this stuff in my head, and but really a lot of it is just muscle memory. And I don't have it as bad as some of those carriers do in big cities, where you have, I think a lot of people might not know this, even in America. In bigger cities, there are addresses that will say N or S and then have 3 or 4 numbers, and then it'll say E or W and then have 3 or 4 numbers after that too. So then you have to remember like 7 to 8 numbers per every address in different subdivisions and stuff, and that seems pretty brutal. I mean, the most amount of numbers that I have to remember for the houses that I deliver to are 5 numbers. Most of them are 5 numbers out in the country, out in rural areas, and at least in the state I live in. I assume it's pretty similar all over America. I think in England they do like letters. I think it's lettered over there. I don't know if it's like that in other European countries, but I know I've heard that England, it's like letters. It's it could be like QWIIJ or something, and then that's like the address, which seems strange to me. sure to them it's normal, whatever you grew up with really is what's normal. But yeah, that seems pretty difficult to remember too, like letters and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't think I have it too bad. And I get to be outside all day too. I really appreciate that a lot about working for the post office, is getting to be outside literally. Most of my shift that I'm there, getting some fresh air. It's helped my health a lot. I had about 6 months off from work between. I used to be a CNA. I used to work in a hospital. I was in high school. I started as a food and nutrition aide, is what they're called. Basically, I served food to old people. There was a geriatric wing kind of attached to this hospital, assisted living center, kind of, it's basically an elderly home. I don't know if there's a politically correct term for it this year, but yeah, I serve food to them, and you have different jobs up there. You can work in the kitchen, and you do all this different stuff. When I tried to be a CNA, I was thinking about going to nursing school, and I was in college for a year and a half for that, 3 semesters, and I really hated it a lot. Really hated college a lot. So I'm pretty happy that I stopped doing college and just kind of started my life. Like I had stopped college. I quit my job, and then I ended up just doing nothing. I was living in an apartment with my wife. At the time, we were just dating. But it was the COVID era too. It was just before COVID hit, so there's not a whole lot you can do other than make plans for the future and start a family when you're kind of just sitting around. So that's what we did, and it was fun. We went on some vacations too. We had some money saved up from working the jobs we did when we were in high school and college, and so we went on a trip to like Florida and stuff, and we went on a trip to Chicago, and we went to Clearwater Beach in Florida. We went to the Busch Gardens. We went to the SeaWorld. That's what it is. Yeah, we went to SeaWorld, and that was a good time too. And got to see the orcas perform, and so it's pretty cool. We got to see the dolphins too. I would say that I think the most fun show is the dolphins, because they can do that thing with their tail where it's basically just their tail in the water and their bodies are doing this, going through the water, and they do it all in unison too. And so there's something really, it's really incredible that dolphins can do that, and even be trained to do that kind of a thing. The orcas are very large. If you haven't seen an orca in real life, they're huge. There's nothing else to really say about them. A lot of the pictures you see are them online, and they're harassing like humpback whales and sperm whales and stuff like that. They don't mess with blue whales too much, I don't think. But they're typically going after whales that are just much larger than them. So they seem like just large, but they're literally the size of a bus. And they open their mouths, and it just looks like the instructor is going to get eaten. And so they're a little ominous. I get a little nervous around orcas, personally, because they will eat anything, especially the ones in captivity. I mean, what do you expect when you put an apex predator in captivity, though? Great white sharks just kill themselves. Orcas have a tendency to drag their trainers to the bottom of the pool and basically hold them down until they drown. And these are apex predators are intelligent creatures. You can't put them in captivity and not expect something bad to happen. So I was not sitting in the front row or anywhere near where an orca could jump out of the water, miraculously and kill me. Even though that's, unless this thing is on steroids, it would not be possible anyway. But yeah, orcas are. They're large. They're out there. Yeah, people that swim with dolphins too, they make me a little nervous too, because dolphins, monkeys, humans, these are creatures that procreate recreationally, and you never know what's going to happen when you get into the water with a dolphin. Yeah, just seems like a bad idea, too. But at least the dolphins are a little smaller. You might be able to get away. But orcas are just they'll just take you. I'd rather get into a tank with a great white shark, because then it might not notice me. The orca will see me immediately, though. The great white shark, you might be able to kind of play dead and act like you're not there. But yeah, the orca will, it's going to find out about you. It's going to want to play. Yeah. I'm trying to think about what else we did. We stayed in a bed and breakfast, too, which was pretty nice in Florida. That was a lot of fun. This was years ago now, but like 3 years ago. This was like 3 years ago that we went on this vacation. This was before we were married. So that was a good time. Chicago, we went to like the Navy Pier and stuff. If you're from the Midwest, you've probably gone to Chicago for a vacation at least once in your life. I mean, around here in the Midwest, it kind of depends on what you consider the Midwest too. Like for me, I consider it the Dakotas, Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin. I would say is the Midwest for me, but some people consider Colorado the Midwest, and it's like, if you don't want them to be just the West, make like a separate section called the Midwest or the mountain region or something, because that's like pretty far away from the middle of America when you're getting into Colorado. Same thing with like Tennessee. Those people, they talk like they're from the South. Like as someone that's from the North, people in Tennessee talk like they're from the South. We went to Gatlinburg as well in Tennessee. We stopped there on our Florida trip, and that was a lot of fun. We did like the mirror maze house thing, house of mirrors. There was like not an escape room, but it was like a horror house kind of a thing we went into as well. That was so that was a good time. Yeah, we didn't stay in Tennessee too long though. The very best thing about Tennessee though is I had Waffle House for the very first time. We don't have that up here in the North. We literally don't have Waffle House. It was kind of like a mythical place for me, somewhere that they specialize in making breakfast food. Damn it. I hate it when I miss scrolls. I've missed 2 so far. But yeah, Waffle House was like this just amazing place. I thought it was. And I was not disappointed. They had great food and great waffles, like you'd kind of hope for them too. Yeah, the Busch Gardens was fun too. Seeing all the different hedges that they trim. They make animals out of the hedges, and they have actual animals there too. They have all these cool statues as well that you take pictures next to these things when you're on vacation, and you never do anything with them. Women tend to post stuff on Facebook, but men, we kind of just are told to take pictures, and we do, and then you go back, a year or 2 years later and delete the vast majority of that vacation because, first of all, you can just remember it. You don't need a picture to remember that you went to a place, and we aren't going to post it anyway, so there's not much of a point for us guys to take pictures of things on vacation. At least in my experience, for me personally, it was like, I'm just wasting phone storage for me. I would say Clearwater Beach was the best part of Florida, though. I think it's on the Gulf of Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. Clearwater Beach there, and it is exactly as its name suggests. It was very clear water. I think there was an otter that came. That doesn't make any sense. An otter? I feel like it was an otter, though. There was an otter in the water in the Gulf of Mexico. Maybe I'm crazy for that. I don't know. If you guys are from Florida and you guys know, then you could let me know. Or a sea lion? What are sea lions in the Gulf of Mexico? I don't know. We have we don't have an ocean next to us up here, so in the north middle of America. We have the Great Lakes, but unless you want to freeze to death, you've got like a 2-week period to go in them where you will not freeze to death. Other smaller lakes warm up better, but the Great Lakes are extremely cold, just pretty much the entire year round. Sometimes people could try to go out there and they'll surf on 1 foot waves. If you're lucky enough to get a 1 foot wave. But yeah, most people just don't do that. I guess most people just don't do the the lakes experience or anything. But yeah. Anyway, places in the Midwest that you can visit if you guys are ever around. Chicago is obviously number one. I think it's the south side of Chicago where a lot of the crime is going on, a lot of the gang violence and different things. Not 100% sure on that one, but there's definitely some parts of Chicago you need to watch out for and just be careful. But there's a lot of nice places there too. There's also the Mall of America, which is in Minnesota. It's in Minneapolis, St. Paul area, which is quite a hike for most people. But it's not too bad up there. They've got these massive Lego statues. They've got an indoor theme park, and they have all these like Nickelodeon-esque rides. They've got like I think they had a Dora ride back in the day. I don't know if they still do. I know they still have the SpongeBob ride. They have these little like tribal looking things. I don't know the name of the show of it. They used to have that. I think when I was there, they were trying to get a Frozen ride, or they had already had one put in. I think it was a Frozen ride they were trying to put in. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Now that I am thinking about it, it's just hard to remember exactly what they have there. But yeah, I really like the Lego statues. They have food courts there, obviously, too. I think they have a movie theater inside of it as well. I think when I was there, they had a restaurant that was newly put in where the waiters come around and they treat you like trash. It's one of those places. They insult you. They had these hats they'd write something down on, and then you'd wear it. And then it was just supposed to be funny for everyone else and kind of a one of those kinds of restaurants. If you haven't been to one, don't take your kids. You get what you go for. I just wouldn't. I just wouldn't recommend taking kids to that particular part. But everything else is great for kids. That's where I got my first Build-A-Bear when I was like 7 years old or something. I got a little stuffed monkey or something like that. They have other stuff too. They have a bunch of stuff for women. Typically, I mean, it's a mall. Women are going to be pretty happy. A woman could legitimately spend an entire week in this mall, the Mall of America. Other places, like other than Chicago and the Mall of America, you have the Wisconsin Dells, which is a pretty good place to go. They've got a bunch of different water parks there. Some of them are open in the winter too, but most I would probably just go in the summer when you can go to all of the different parks, do all these different all the different rides and things there. But it's mostly water parks. There's some stuff. I know the Great Wolf Lodge. I know they have that in a bunch of different states, and they have one of those there, which is kind of more of like an inside water park. But some of these are outside water parks too. There, so obviously that's just a summer only kind of a thing. In Detroit, or I wouldn't visit Detroit. I would go to a Detroit Red Wings game, a hockey game over there. But otherwise, in Michigan, you have like Mackinac Island, which is between the Upper Peninsula and the Lower Peninsula, I think. The UP and the LP. And that's okay. It's like you got like horse riding and stuff up there, but there's not a whole lot to do in Michigan, I don't think. There's not a whole lot to do in the Midwest, though. I'm not going to say it's like just Michigan. I think Iowa is literally cornfields. I think it's literally a Division I college and cornfields. I think that's I think that's Iowa. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. If you're from Iowa, definitely comment too and say, yeah, that's 100% accurate. Or don't say, whatever's true is, whatever you want to throw down there. But I'm pretty sure Iowa is just cornfields. I don't think there is any, big city. I don't think there's any major tourist destination there. Oh, that's too bad. I thought if you held it, it wouldn't go through. Okay, we'll go for one more scroll here, and then we will be done, I presume. Could just about get a legendary scroll. Yeah, otherwise that's I think that's about all. In Indianapolis has a bunch of stuff. I know Ohio has a bunch of different things going on. Like you could go and watch. I think the Cavaliers are out of there. If you're an NBA fan, Ohio. There's got to be stuff to do in Ohio. It's a I think it's the most populated state in the Midwest, other than, I don't know if Illinois. Chicago kind of carries Illinois. If you took Chicago out, I think it'd pretty easily be Ohio. I think it's Ohio anyway. I think Ohio's the biggest state in the Midwest. Anyway, I'm going to get the extra pieces I need for the legendary scroll, and we will summon that. I'll be right back. Alright, here we go. Get the legendary first, finish with an LD. Yeah, well, that's how you shred about 3,000 crystals. You guys have a nice day. If you are triggered, definitely subscribe.